Hi everyone, this is Alice Kutcher. This is the second installment of Monday Nights with MMT. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you about the Universal parks, the 3 parks, as well as the park-to-park ticket. For those of you that have never been, Universal is made up of 3 parks. Volcano Bay is the most recent park to have opened up. It is their water park. Really cool thing about that one is it is one that has virtual lines for most rides. They have a wonderful thing called a Tapu Tapu that allows you to lower your wait time. It gives you a chance to hook up to your credit card, so if there's anything you wanted to purchase and things like that, similar to those that may have been big fans of the mouse, good old Mickey. The Tapu Tapu is similar to their magic bands, but a little different. You don't take it home with you at the end of the day. It stays at the park. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the other 2 parks, and then I go back to Volcano Bay in a moment. Of course, then there's the original Universal Studios Florida. That one is, for anyone that's wondering, that is the park that is based off of the movies. So that's or television. That's the one where Fast and the Furious is, where Despicable Me, Jimmy Fallon, Transformers, as well as Harry Potter Diagon Alley. Now, Harry Potter is, of course, both book and movies. So over at Islands of Adventure, we have Hogsmeade as well as other print ones like the comic books, Hulk, Spider-Man, Popeye, Cat in the Hat, even Skull Island. All right, as well as Jurassic Park, which some people don't remember. Jurassic Park was book before movie. Okay. So that's a little bit about the 3 parks. Going back to Volcano Bay, like I said, they are the newest park. They opened up about 2 years ago, a little over that by now. They do the virtual lines with the Tapu Tapu, as well as having the water coaster, the volcano, which is the main part of there, which at the foot of the volcano is the wave pool, which everybody loves, as well as having the volcano every once in a while spurting water out. For those who haven't been to it, it's something awesome to go to. Personally, when I go, I usually actually only spend about half a day at Volcano Bay. I find that a full day is a little too much, especially in the Florida sun and the lines of the water park. Usually you go first thing in the morning, stay until about noon or so, and then from there head out to, I usually head back to my hotel, shower, get changed, and then I usually head to Islands of Adventure or Universal Studios based on wait times. That's where the park-to-park ticket comes in. I usually recommend to my clients that if they are fans of the water park, any water parks, they usually know the drill. You only stay about half the day because by then you've done everything, and quite frankly, you're a little waterlogged by then. But I know several people do the same thing as I do, which is spend half the day over at Volcano Bay or any water park per se that's similar to this, and then go spend the rest of the day at one of the other parks. Park-to-park ticket allows for that to happen. It doesn't cost you a second day or anything like that. It lets you go literally park to park. My last trip to Universal, I actually did all 3 parks in one day using that park-to-park ticket. Went back to the hotel room after Volcano Bay, dried off, headed back to the parks. I started at Islands of Adventure because they had less times. Their wait times were lower, and they actually ended up closing early that night, earlier than Universal. Then from there, we did the whole park, went ahead from there to Universal Studios by going through the Hogwarts Express. One of the great things about the Hogwarts Express is it is a cute ride. For those Harry Potter fans, it is just one of those great things. For that, one thing that people do forget to do is the fact that it does have a different scene based off of which direction you go. So going from Hogsmeade to Universal Studios, it's one scene that plays out for you. Going from the other way, Universal to Hogsmeade, it is something different. So then after that, we went over back to Universal Studios. We did the whole thing there. It was a very hectic day, but we were able to get all 3 parks done and a good number of the rides going. We also had Express Pass, so that helped a lot with that line. Hi, Sharon. So now, like I said, with park-to-park ticket, it does allow you to have those different things where you can go to different parks. You can do a crazy day like I did, where we did all 3 parks. Or you can just do what I do most days, on the days where I'm not feeling a water park, or it's cloudy, it's going to rain, things like that. I just usually hop back and forth between Islands and Universal. It's one of those things where you can take full advantage of your tickets that way. You get to see where the lines are, where the crowds are. Typically, whichever park opens early has the crowds at the morning, and by the end of the day, people are out of it. But for the good thing to keep track of the crowds would be to go onto the Universal app. They, like Disney, have their own app, and you can monitor the park times on there. So usually if one park looks a little crowded, jump on the Hogwarts Express, head over, take a look, see what's over there, and you can always hop back and forth throughout the course of the day. You can go through and get more done. With Universal as a whole, their tickets can be a little bit pricey. I mean, they don't always do that deal like they have right now, which is that buy 2, get 3 days free, which goes until the end of this month. With that, I mean, yeah, you're only paying for 2 days. You get 5 whole days. That can be done as a park-to-park ticket. So you can get 5 days, get everything done several times if you wanted to. And of course, if you don't want to do Hogwarts Express, you can go through City Walk. That'll take up some more time, get you to see a couple different things, but it's a vacation. You're on your own time. You're on your own schedule here. Just give me 1 second, guys. So, now, my favorite things to do is first thing in the morning, when you're at those parks, go straight to the Harry Potter. With tickets bought through Marvelous Mouse Travels, even if you're not staying on site, you get that early park admission. So, get the early park admission, go to the park that opens early, do what you need to do back there, then hop on the Express, head to the other park right before it starts to get crowded, and like I said, hopping back and forth. Things like that. Favorite ride? Personally, I have a couple. But I know that's one thing I always get asked when I talk about any of the parks that we book. For Universal, I love Jimmy Fallon. It's an amazing ride. Especially the fact that it's a simulator, but you still kind of get that nice big feel like you're actually watching a taping of their show. Then, those people that know me, I have a tendency being a little dorky. I like the ones that are a little classic. So, Mummy, because it makes me think of the old classic Mummy movies. I'm not talking just Brendan Fraser, I'm talking like the older ones. Because every once in a while, you can see Egyptian people dressed up on stilts, kind of looking like it's an old set. Plus the front of the theater where the Mummy ride is makes you think of that older Hollywood. The one that was the best one, that I think by far, was Skull Island over at Islands of Adventure, sorry. That one I think is an amazing one. They did a great job with the 3D effects going through. You're really feeling like you're on a tour trying to get supplies to somebody. Let's see. Of course, when I say classics, I do miss things like Back to the Future, which is now the Simpson ride. It's been that for a few years now. But they did a wonderful job with the whole Simpson area over there. You can actually see Krusty Krabs. Yes, the Krusty Burgers, sorry. Screwing up on my parks here, because there is a little SpongeBob spot out there. Of course, if you're bringing the munchkins with you, the little guys, my kids, when I brought them, they loved Cat in the Hat, the carousel, that whole circus area there. Plus, if you time it right, you can actually get there when they're reading the Dr. Seuss books. It just adds to it. And let's see. Of course, you have the Transformer ride, which is another great one over at Universal Studios. And those, for the fans of the Fast and the Furious movies, they do have the ride. Personally, I loved looking at the cars. For me, that was the thing that I felt that was the best about that ride. Yes, the ride was great, but I like looking at pretty cars. I'm sure I'm not the only one. These were all muscle cars, all the cars that you would see them using in the movies. Of course, now that Men in Black International is out, there has been more of an uptake in people riding the Men in Black Aliens Attack ride. That one's another cool one. It's a shooter game. So you're going through and you're trying to defeat the aliens through New York City. It's pretty cool. Some people do go ahead and with their parties try to compete who gets the better score. So far, I've beaten my husband almost every time we go on it. Though Eric will argue with that fact, and always comes up with a reason why he hasn't beaten me. Typically, it's the shooter on the gun. The button's not working good. More often than not, he says that. Let's see. Now, of course, if anyone has any questions, by all means, put them down in the comments here. If anyone needs to reach out to me for anything, or I wasn't clear, or I was confusing on something I've mentioned already or will mention, by all means, definitely shoot me an email at alice.kutcher, Kutcher, at marvelousmousetravels.com, and I will definitely get back to you. For those people that only do the 2-day park tickets, they decide, you know what, I'm not a fan of the water park, I don't like that, but they find that it's a little hot, especially it's Florida, it's hot, it's humid. Anyone that's gone more than once knows that, regardless of the time of year. The great thing about Islands of Adventure, they got some water rides there. You have the Bluto barges there, which I got drenched over there. It's one of those circular raft ones, and you get drenched on there. If you're more of a log flume type of person, I would highly, highly recommend the Ripsaw Falls. For those of the younger generations, I would definitely look up the old Dudley Do-Right cartoons. I'm sure they're available on YouTube. Not the movie. I would definitely look up the old cartoons. The movie was good, but for those that might have watched the reruns of the original cartoon, you'd appreciate it better. And seeing some of the cartoons, you'll get the references to the ride a lot better. So, but it's adorable. Definitely check that out. And it's another one where if it's a hot day, the lines will get long, but it is worth it. Both barges and Ripsaw Falls are definitely worth it. Then, of course, you have the whole superhero area. That with the Spider-Man, Hulk, Storm Force, all that fun stuff. You'll definitely, for any of the Marvel geeks out there, superhero geeks, you'll definitely love that. Plus, there is a spot where you can meet Spider-Man. My son, my little guy, who's going to be 7 this month, he is a big Spider fan. He loves his Spider-Man. So we were able to get him to meet him, get a picture taken with them. It made his trip last time we took him. So that's some of the big things at those 2 parks. Now going back to Volcano Bay, which I love every once in a while going back to talking about, they have one of the best rides over there. It is the Aqua Coaster, and it is exactly what it says. It is a Aqua Coaster. So you are in a raft, think of similar to a log flume, but not. It is not a log flume. It is similar to it in looks, but it is a little raft, just like you would have for any of the other water slides. Except this one, you go up and you go down just like you do on a roller coaster. The great thing is about it is because it's a raft, you're really feeling the ups and downs on it. So then, of course, you have I found one of the best wave pools. You can just go, stand there, ride those waves, get through the bouncing, end up being moved across the entire park, things like that. I find it is a wonderful thing. So then, of course, throughout both parks, if you had munchkins and you were looking for things to do with them, besides doing the kids section, the Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss Land, Curious George Goes to Towns, Barney, Woody Woodpecker, all those type of things, E.T., Shrek, they do have areas where you can have the kids run around. E.T. is a cute little ride that even if the younger generations have not seen the movie E.T., they may not get some of the references, but it is an adorable one. They give you a little bit of a story for those that haven't been on it. Gives you a little bit of a story going through, and it gives you that sweet innocence. But keep in mind it's Spielberg. It's going to be adorable. It's going to be sweet. So then, of course, once again, the best way to get all this stuff dealt with is to do that park-to-park ticket. I know I seem to be harping on it, but I personally, it's something that some of my clients can attest to. It's one of the things I always recommend, because with these small parks, you can hop around, lines get long, and it ends up being something where, to make the most of your time, you're going to want to jump between the parks to beat those lines, beat those rushes, things like that. Once again, for those looking at going sometime this calendar year, you're going to have to you're going to end up having to think about doing the deal of the buy 2 days get 3 free. That will be good through mid-December. That's when you have to use them by. However, the sale goes through currently to July 31st. Previously, they have extended it. It originally was supposed to end in June. However, they did extend it to go through end of July. No guarantee that they'll do it again. This is one of the really good deals that, personally, they used to do it a lot, the last couple of years, they haven't really done this. So it is something that I would highly recommend doing. Keep in mind, even if you don't take advantage of that buy 2 get 3 days free, any of the tickets bought through Marvelous Mouse Travels does come with early park admission. So typically that is something that you can only get at the hotels on site. Things similar to our friend the mouse across the way there in Orlando. Those got the early park admission does save you a bunch of time. It gives you early park admission to Volcano Bay, to Harry Potter, those areas that get packed fast. And of course, we do also have the ability to get the Express Pass, which is their, not necessarily skip the line, but definitely shorten the line. 3 premier hotels on site do offer it, but it is something that you can buy if you're not staying on site or staying at one of the other on-site hotels. The best story I have about that is Eric and I, my husband, we went down to, not this past May, but last May. We were down in Universal for a couple of days. We had the Express Pass. We were staying at Los Portofino. Beautiful, beautiful hotel. Highly recommend it. It feels like you're in Italy. I love that hotel. But anyway, besides the point, we were walking through. It was our last day, our last afternoon there, and we had done everything that we wanted to do probably a couple times. And we're walking by Skull Island. That was the only ride, the only one we had not had a chance to get onto yet. Every time we walked by it, because it was still on the newer side, that line was at least, the regular line was at least an hour and a half, if not 2 hours, at least. And the good rule of thumb is with Express Pass, which we had, is you figure at least half of that. Sometimes you're luck out like we did that day. We happened to walk by, it said 80 minutes. We're like, okay, so about half using that rule of thumb, figure, okay, 40 minutes. That's not too bad. I mean, we've done everything else. We've got the time. Let's try it out. We get in line, or at least we thought we were getting in line. We go through the express entrance. We're walking down. We see all the other people. We're the type that, try to wave hi as we're, trying to avoid the glares as they're standing in line waiting, and we're just walking. We're like, okay, at some point we're going to see people in front of us. We've got to. And then we keep walking, and finally we start hearing voices on our side, because they have the 2 separate lines, one for the regular, one for the Express Pass. And as we're walking, we finally hear those voices. Turns out there was no line on the Express side. We had absolutely no line. It took us about 5, maybe 10 minutes to walk through it because of how long the area was, and they had it weaving. But we ended up just being able to walk on to the cart that they were filling up. They had one last row in the back that they were putting people that were in front of us in, and they said, okay, you got two, we have room for you guys. And they threw us on, and we turned that 80-minute wait into probably about a 5-minute walk. And that was just walking through the jungle-y maze that they have there for the Express Pass. So next, of course, this year when we went in May, it wasn't the same. I mean, we actually had about a 20-minute wait in the Express Pass line, but the other line was still about 100 minutes. So it ended up working out to the best. So for those that want to make sure that they are getting their every penny worth, definitely want to go to all 3 parks, or even just the 2 parks. Definitely do that park-to-park ticket, and if possible, definitely get the Express Pass, because that's the way that you will get the most bang for your buck with that trip. Okay, so I'm at the end of my 30 minutes here. Thank you guys for joining me. Sorry I seemed a little crazy there for a moment there. I'm a little nervous about these videos. If anyone has any questions, concerns, once again, reach out to me at Alice, ALICE.Kutcher, KUTCHER, at marvelousmousetravels.com. And the people that were commenting, saying hi to me and things like that at the bottom of the screen, I'll be going ahead picking somebody to get a Universal gift card. I will reach out to you and let you know who wins. And I hope everyone has a great night and enjoy your travels. Bye-bye.